What's going on, everybody? Kim coming at you from LynkMe Cards. We have a special guest today. I'm so excited for this one. We have Tom Paulauskas, and he's the team leader at Thomas Paulauskas Realty. So excited to have you on, man. How you doing? Of
Thank you. I'm doing really well. Thank you so much.
course, Tom. Hey, Tom, could you give us a little introduction of yourself? Where are you from? Where do you live? What do you do?
Okay, so for the longest time, I was in Palmdale, California, and that's where I was basically raised. I was actually born in Louisiana, but at a very young age, we moved to California. Then I was raised in Lancaster and Palmdale, and then became a realtor as soon as I turned 19. And
19.
from there, obviously, I built my business. So yeah, that's a little bit of my background there.
Yeah. So for those viewers, Tom and I met at a Keller Williams office here in Costa Mesa or
It
Newport
was in
Beach.
Newport, yeah, Newport Beach,
Newport
yeah,
Beach.
yeah.
Yeah, and I saw him presenting there as a team leader, and he gave an amazing presentation. And I felt bad because I had to go speak right after him. And so I was like, oh,
That's
how
fine.
am I going to top this off? But, anyways, Tom, thanks for coming onto this podcast. And so
Yep.
I have a few questions for you, my man. So you started real estate in 18,
When I was 19 years old, yeah,
19,
2007.
2007.
Yeah.
He looks young, but apparently he's old. But he looks super young. You look like my older bro, but he could be my dad. So, Tom, what made you get into real estate in the first place?
Well, so when I was, like I said, I was raised in Lancaster and I lived in a low income, poverty line neighborhood. It was rough. There was a lot of gangs, there was drugs, there was robberies. Wasn't good. And at that young age, I was in an apartment complex and I would remember walking home from a friend's house and thinking, man, it's kind of rough living here. I kind of wish that I didn't have to live here. Oh, what about the guy that owns the place? I've never even seen the guy. And that's what made me think, well, I'd rather be the guy that owns the place than lives here. And then that's what got me thinking, well, how do I do that? How do I own real estate? And that's what really propelled me to think, okay, well, after high school, I would like to start some sort of real estate career to learn about real estate, to become a real estate investor, own the apartments instead of struggle to pay for them.
That's a great story. Yeah.
Right.
So, Tom, how old are you now?
I am 38, just turned 38.
38. Got it. So there's like around 20-year difference between where you when you started and where you are now.
Hmm.
So for those agents that are like brand new in their first year watching this, what were your first 2 to 3 years? What did it look like? Were you able to generate money immediately? That what did that look like?
Well, my first 2 to 3 years, the first thing I did was a friend and I were looking for jobs. I did just get my real estate license, or I, I'm sorry, I actually was waiting to take my exam, I believe, and a buddy of mine had a friend who was in the loan business, and he said, "Why don't we go chat with him?" Because it was one of the top performers in the area. So I said, yeah, let's go talk to him. We're putting out applications everywhere. Why not talk to him and see if he has a connection or maybe he needs help? So we talked to him. And he said, that's funny. Thomas, you're getting a license. I said, yeah, absolutely. And he said, well, I have a friend named Steve Burton who's actually just asking me to help him find a assistant slash like a runner, person that can do this and do that, like an intern almost, right? So I said, yeah, sign me up, let me know. And so he called him up. I ended up interviewing with him, and he hired me right there. I thought it was an internship at that point, and in all reality, he was going to pay me a small salary, which wasn't bad to get my feet wet. So that was the first 3 years I was working for him, and also had my license and selling under him. And we were doing foreclosures, where most people at that time weren't in the REO market or the foreclosure market. You could bring a buyer, but no one had the bank connections that he had. So we were selling about 300 homes a year, and that's how I got started. Basically as an assistant though, so I was helping him sell those properties.
You know, what I think is genius about that, your approach, is you didn't just start your real estate journey and started butting your head against the wall. You were learning from a guy that was selling 300 homes a year. That is awesome, man. So would you say those 3 years where you worked for him, learning everything you can while selling 300 homes, do you think that kind of set the stepstones into your career to kind of?
It did give me some stepping stones as far as learning a good work ethic because I was in the office from like 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. So it was a really good work ethic. I listened to how he talked to people and his confidence and just how he handled things, his demeanor. However, I did not learn the typical real estate market with mom and pop or your typical investor. I only learned the REO or foreclosure bank market. And that actually handicapped me a little bit when it came to when the market switched over.
Well, let's dive into that. So first 3 years you were focusing on the real foreclosure market. What happened there? What did you what
We cut out a little bit. Say that again.
so you were working with for 3 years and
What happened after that? So
yeah.
basically, what happened is I stayed with him for about 5 years, and we had dreams of starting our own office. He was getting his broker's license, and I believed that I would be a manager or something and move up. And it just never happened. We had these big beautiful dreams that just never came to fruition, and the market started to change. There was a little bit of a different energy on the team because we weren't doing so many REOs anymore. We went from like 300 to maybe like 50 REO transactions a year. So the pipeline started to dwindle, and I had these dreams of being a office manager and stuff like that. And since it didn't happen, I just said, "Fine, I'll do it myself. I'll go get my broker's license," which I did. It was about 2014. I got my broker's license, and I was like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna start this company, Paulauskas Realty." And that's what I did, and I went off on my own. I left Keller Williams. I went off on my own to run this company that I had no idea what I was doing, what I was getting myself into. But the first month, I opened 3 escrows.
Wow. Wow. That's awesome, man. So how long were you a single agent with the Paulauskas Realty before you started
Ooh, that's a
hiring
good
your own
question.
agents?
It was a couple of months. So I went from being the single agent with Paulauskas Realty. Then I talked to the broker of Keller Williams. He said, "Hey, I heard you might be leaving and, you have your broker's license, so you might want to start your own company. Why don't you come talk to me about that?" And I said, "Sure, let's talk," even though I had already left. But, I had a lot of respect for him. Sam Raffay, an amazing guy, the owner of Keller Williams, Antelope Valley, very successful. So I said, "Of course I'll talk to you." So I talked to him and he said, "Here's all the challenges of doing your own thing, and here's all the benefits of working with a bigger firm, a bigger company." And he was like, "Hey, you were on your own basically with that team in the REO market, and you never saw the education and help, the training that we have to offer. So get plugged into our office." And I was like, "Oh, well, I kind of already did my own thing and I started my own brand and everything." He said, "Use that brand with Keller Williams. You can absolutely brand yourself as Paulauskas Realty with Keller Williams." I said, "That sounds pretty good." And he was like, "Look, I'll start you off with an office, and so that way you have a place to work, and you can get going from there. But make sure you plug into all the training." I said, "Okay." And that's how I branched off and did my own thing. I would say about a month after coming back is when I hired my first assistant.
Wow. Okay. Okay. So from going from, branching your own brand within Keller Williams to now, how many agents do you have now?
Oh gosh, we just added a couple, so we're probably around 28, 30, somewhere between
Dude, that's
28 and 30.
awesome, man. You know what I love about your brand identity is that it's always so fun with a lot of people, like having so much fun in the videos. Like you guys have been pumping out a lot of videos, and I respect
Yeah,
that. And some of
thanks.
the shots I was like taking a look at, you were adding like drone shots, really cool edits, a lot of high engaging, like fun people, dancing, talking in the video. I loved it. I
Yeah,
have so many
thank
questions
you.
for you, man. So, what would you say? Okay, let me start with this. If you had to look for one or two things when hiring a new agent into your team, what would that be? What do you look for? Or what's a green flag and what's a red flag when hiring a new agent?
Man, that's a great question. I've been looking for the magic wand on that for the longest time. And in all reality, there's a phrase that says hire slow, fire fast. And Grant Cardone says hire fast, fire fast. And I really actually grew to like that because in all reality, everyone puts their this fantasy of who they are up front, but you can't know for sure who someone is until you go shoulder to shoulder with them and see what their commitments are, what their consistency is, how persistent they are, right? So for new agents, of course, we want someone that's consistent, number one, persistent, number two, right? We want someone that can always show up, is always willing to learn, is putting in the hours that it takes. We know that real estate is so flexible as far as being in real estate sales, as far as time frame. You can show up when you want, you can leave when you want. And in all reality, it really is, you have to be there more. You have to be there more than a regular job. You have to show up earlier and leave later. If you're just getting started, you can't just do an hour here or there. And you might get lucky and do a couple of deals, but in all reality, you're not absorbing, learning, and implementing new strategies by just being there for a few hours and getting lucky with a deal here and a deal there. So really, consistency and persistence is going to be key, and we can't find out if someone really has that until we rub shoulders.
Got it. Got it. And I love, do you know who Alex Hormozy is?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you've seen this content before. And I love when he says, don't waste your time. You can recognize who the superstar is in the first interview. And have you ever had those moments where you felt like, okay, like this person is a rock star, like he's gonna or she's gonna crush it. And then you kind of fizzled out,
Yeah.
or you thought he was a superstar and they just blew up.
So I'll tell you this, that I'm very optimistic about people and I believe in people with my whole heart. And that is one of my weaknesses is because, if you tell me something in the beginning, I want to believe you. I want to believe you so badly and I want to help you. I'm like, so what I was doing is I was putting so much time, effort, even money into helping others where they didn't even want to help themselves. And then I also did the very similar things with the people that were willing to help themselves. However, they were more like, hey, I'm going to help myself out of here. Like, thanks for teaching me everything, spending money on me, spending time on me, sitting down with me. Now I'm going to go do it on my own. And so, which I don't blame them. I'm happy for them. I'm glad they grew. And it's almost like a trophy. Like when I see people I train succeed, it's like, oh, that's my trophy. That's a pat on my back, right? And at the same time, I wasn't able to recoup that time. I wasn't able to recoup that energy or the funds that I spent to get them to that point. So I had to really rethink it and go, okay, well, how can I either spend less time and money or how can I earn it back? For me is like, the main thing, I don't mind spending the time and money. I just would like to earn it back to some degree to where, I'm not just training my competition right out the door, right?
Right. So that's really interesting that you bring that up because, if you look at the biggest law firms, accounting firms, or real estate firms, the biggest constraint of the business is retaining talent, right? Because anybody can come in, learn everything they need to from a great leader like yourself, and think, oh my gosh, I could start my own and do exactly what Tom's doing, right? So, how do you go about? I know big law firms and accounting firms, they provide their employees with a path to ownership, right? I forgot the exact term for it, but it's like partnership, whatever, you get what I mean. And
I know
so,
what you're talking about, yeah.
what's your strategy in retaining talent? Because I'm sure keeping talent is everything, right?
Yeah. So it's so important, I believe, to have, like you said, a path laid out, like a clear cut path. And that's one thing I did not have in the beginning. So over time, what I developed was levels on the team. So what that does is you start off in a probationary period, and you have to hit certain milestones, activities, transactions. And then you become an actual agent on the team and you become a level one agent. And then level one, you have some more responsibilities, you have some more benefits, you have different things that are in your favor. And also we help train you, we guide you to another level of success. Right. And then there's this level two, and we do the same thing, more benefits, and then we train you even more. Level three, more benefits, and we train you even more. So right there, it opens up the door to go, I'm not getting that training until I hit this first. I have to hit these milestones first, then I will get that type of training, right? and then I'll get those type of leads, or then I'll get those type of splits or whatever, right? So it gives them something to go after, something to be excited about, right? With that being said, a path to ownership is really important. I do have partners in my company that have a path to ownership, their leadership, and they do have a path to ownership, right? Now the agents have not laid that out yet. I haven't come up with that ownership piece. However, what I am working on is opening up opportunities. So one of the opportunities is, and if you're an agent on my team, you can now flip homes with me. So if you put in, we buy a $500,000 home, you want to put in $10,000 or $5,000 even. Now you can start investing without having all that huge money. We'll even let you come with us to go look at the home. You get to meet the contractors. You get to see what we're doing, what we're putting in the home, stuff like that. So now there's an opportunity for you, and you get to learn more and be a part of something bigger, even with a small portion of it, right? So that's one of the things. And also now I own multiple businesses and am starting more businesses, right? So now I get to open the door to those businesses and go, hey, as you're growing with us and you're adding value to the team, you also get value added to you. Here's a company that we would like to partner with you in. Now, I haven't partnered with anyone yet, but we do have like a media company that we are working on. We have a cafe that we're working on. I have ownership in an escrow company in obviously Keller Williams, Antelope Valley, and of course the team. So there's a lot of different opportunities, and there's also other things we could do like profit participation. So not necessarily are you an owner, but you can participate in the profits, right? And go, okay, well, if the whole team makes this much profit, then you get this portion. So it's very similar to ownership, except you don't have the actual like stock certificates and like full control over it, right?
Dude, I love that. Okay. Wow. I want to talk scale with you because, just piggybacking on what you said, what's your approach on scaling your team? So in two parts. So what have you tried that didn't work? And what worked and what are you doing now?
Okay, that's a good question. So, what have I tried that didn't work? Well, definitely, our team has always been a magnet because we've been top producing in the area. And I've always been in positions where people see me, they could see how skilled I am, they could see how authentic I am, they could see my results, how I produce, the skill and everything. And so they're automatically attracted to that. And they typically just come to me like, hey, how do I join your team? How do I jump on your team? So, one of the challenges that I've had in people or even retaining people is that I was always trying to be everything. Like I was trying to always do everything, be everything. And so there was a lot on my plate. There was so much going on. And I'm also doing my own business at this time, right? So it's like, how do I do my own business, be very successful in doing that, and also train, teach, motivate? Gosh, these people need motivation a lot of times, right? How do I do all these things and get agents on the team and keep them on the team? So that was a challenge that I had, trying to be everything for everyone. And what I learned from that is not to be everything for everyone, right? Be my best self for everyone and bring in other people to be their best self. And, maybe I can teach them portions of what I do, or maybe they bring something to the table that I don't have, a talent, a skill that I don't have, that they can even add more value. And it's not just about me. It's not just about what I can provide. It's about what the team can offer you, bringing massive value.
Mm, dude, that was a great answer. Yeah, you left me speechless. So I guess your natural strategy was being the number one team in that area, right? So when a real estate agent team, they think about you guys.
Right.
And if I heard you clearly in the beginning, you were trying to do your own hire, recruit, train new agents, and be there at every team supporting all that stuff.
Right.
And so now, are you still doing your own business, or what's different now?
So most of my business is offered up to agents on our team to support that business, right? Like I could still be there for my own clients that are very interested in having me there. And then I just have agents support that. I also have staff to support that. So I do some production, but I'm not doing the production I was. I mean, I was selling myself over 100 houses a year, right? That number has dropped significantly with a couple of reasons. One, I'm giving it to other agents, and two is I'm focusing on building businesses businesses, not just doing as many transactions, right? This year, I'm sorry, 2024, we closed out the year selling, somewhere around 260 homes. And that was with the entire team in place. This year, our goal is to close 400 transactions. And I realize in order to scale, like you said, in order to scale, I can't be everything for everyone. I have to focus on how can I help people do more, but I can't be the only one feeding into these people, right? So that's one thing I definitely learned to help to scale up.
Right on, right on. Well, Thomas, I want to ask you this. I read that just yesterday. I read in 2024, I forget the exact number, but it was 60 to 70% of real estate agents in 2024 closed zero transactions, zero
Mm.
deals. And so, with competition being so wild in the industry of real estate, what work? What is it that successful agents are able to keep on, closing deals after deals after deals, whereas 60 to 70% of agents are just stuck? What's the little switch that gets agents from this point to this point?
The little switch that gets agents from this point to this point. So what you're saying is, what is it causing from agents to go from zero to consistently closing transactions?
Right.
That could be a ton of stuff, right? How much time are they putting into actually lead generating and following up? So, time, effort, and skill level. Like, are they training themselves to be better? Are they really trying? Or are they just pretending to try, right? But I would say that something that there's in any business, people want to work with three different categories, right? They want to work with the best in the industry, right? They want to work with the cheapest in the industry, and they want to work with those that are different, don't show up and don't look the same, that do something different in the industry. So those are the three main things. And to be honest with you, while the market shifts, the market changes and different things are thrown at us, we're constantly looking at all three of those. Like, is this a moment where we do need to be cheaper? I feel like we're always the best, right? We're always the best. We're always standing out. Now, okay, to continue that and to attract more, do we have to be a little cheaper? Do we have to be a little bit different just to stay relevant in an ever changing market? So I think those three things are super important. But of course, the fundamentals of always lead generate, always follow up, and building your own skill level. So that way you could show up with confidence and knowledge in everywhere, right? It's a numbers game. You reach out to more people, your conversion rate goes up as your skill level goes up, right? But if you reach out to a ton of people and you have low skill level, you'll still get deals. So you don't even have to be skilled to get a deal. You just have to reach out to a lot of people, right? It'll just
Yeah.
happen.
Yep. One of my absolute favorite saying is volume negates luck by Hormozy. And that really got me started in this business growing LynkMe. And with that being said, I would like to switch gear from real estate and I want to have a chat with you from business owner to business owner.
Sure.
And and so let's get to the real talk here. Before I started my company, I looked at a business owner with like many, many team members, and I was like, wow, that guy is so successful. His life must be so good, so fun. He's managing all these people. That is awesome. And now that I am no longer a single person team and now I have other people to manage, we are five people team
Congrats,
now.
by the way. Yeah, that's awesome, bro. I remember when it was just you, bro. So that's great.
Thank you. Yeah, and it's just like there's so much shit that goes on every single day. When a team member needs you, they call you. Uh, yeah, like you said, hiring, training, recruiting, keeping them. And so, do you like running a team? Genuinely.
Um, I genuinely like people. Like I said, I'm always very optimistic about people and see the greatness in them. So the truth of the matter is, do I genuinely like running a team? Yes, genuinely. There are some challenges where I'm like, man, I want to throw up my hands and say, forget it. Like, there's been points where I made tons of money, but I made more money as a single agent on my own or just with an assistant, right? Because I didn't have so much overhead, I didn't have to provide so much value, it was just me. But there comes a point where can how much bigger can you grow? How much more can you do on your own? I can just do the same over and over and over. Or how can I build a business that's going to allow me to go anywhere at any time with whoever I want and be completely financially free. So that's where I'm like, it makes sense. Like, I love people and I love seeing people grow. And if I can help them grow to help me grow, then it's a win win.
Yep, for sure. And I loved when you said you made more money just by yourself and an assistant than, well, maybe you are now making more, but then when you had a team. I completely agree. When it was just myself, when I closed, sale, 100% of that was mine.
Yeah, right.
But now there's profit share, now there's overhead, now there's payroll. And so, but yeah, I completely agree. You invest now to, gain in the future with the team that you built, giving you
Right,
more
right.
leverage. Yeah, I completely agree, man. And
Right. I
so,
mean, if you look at the biggest companies, most of them they started with partners, right? They had ownership till today, right? Like from the very beginning till today, they still have ownership in these companies. They might be smaller partners, but it was significant to have those partners involved.
yeah, totally. And just from chatting with you, it sounds like this is your real estate is your first business, right? First company in the industry.
So I mean, official company, yeah. I mean, when I was little, I always had little different companies. I thought, like a little trash service company. I would go knock on doors and collect their trash, throw it away for them. Make a little bit of money here and there. I would sell stuff, and I always had little businesses. But the first real business that was taxed by the IRS, yeah, absolutely. Paulauskas Realty was my first company and corporation. Yeah.
Okay, because I bring that up because I want to hear your story on this too. Is that my first ever business was a drop shipping business in early high school where I would sell drivable lawnmowers to 60-year-old grandpas.
Okay.
It failed miserably, and I remember talking to myself, I'm never running a business ever again. I spent all this money and I didn't generate a sale. Thinking back, it's just so funny because now I
Yeah.
realize how much work it really takes to make
Yeah.
one sale. And once you make that one sale, you just do 10 times work and duplicate, replicate, and just do
Yeah.
more of that.
Right.
I just didn't understand that then, but yeah, was your first business kind of similar to my experience?
Well, I always did really good as far as so the official business, yes. I always did really well when I was just on my own, just having fun doing my own little businesses, trying to make a couple bucks, Like it was easy when I was a little kid to make a sale because they're like, "Oh, look at this little kid, like that's so cool. Yeah, sure. Here's, $1 to take out my trash or, and in school, obviously selling candy was so easy, right? We just sell candy and I would just make deals, right? I would reach out to them like, "Hey, I have this, a 2 for 1 or whatever." I was always trying to figure out
Damn.
a way to add the value where they would go from, man, that's too good of a deal to not buy, right? So I'd always do that. But yeah, dude, like for sure, there was the struggle of in real estate where I'm like, man, I'm just not good enough, because every interview, when I failed an interview, it was just like, they don't want to work with me. I'm too young. Gosh, I mean, I remember feeling like, oh, it's because I'm Asian. It's because I'm too young. It's because of this. I just made up reasons why they wouldn't use me. And the truth of the matter is that people need to use people that is going to benefit them and their family, and they can have the most confidence in. And whatever reason they didn't want to use me was a valid reason, whatever it was. I don't care if it was even because I was Asian. That's fine. Because I was too young. That's fine. Because there's plenty of people out there that I can convert, and as long as I can show them true value, even the people that wouldn't use me for a certain reason, like I was too young, I found that they would use me even being young. It's just I had to show clear value, skill, talent, knowledge, and hands down, they were happy to use me. Even if they were skeptical still, they're like still like, oh my gosh, he's kind of young. I don't know, but he sounds really smart. He knows what he's talking about. He's really quick with it, and then I just started to get, business hand over fist.
Yeah, right on, dude.
Stop letting the excuses hinder you, right? Like stop letting the negative thoughts in your mind be louder than the positive thoughts, right?
We make all these excuses in our heads as to justify this is why they're not using us. But hey man, I know we have limited time, but I'm gonna be a little selfish and ask you some of my personal questions because I want to learn
Sure.
from you. And
Sure. Yeah.
so I bet you still remember when you just had just a few agents under your belt, like maybe say 3 to 5 agents in your
Hmm.
team. So how did you go from having, let's just say, 5 agents to 10 and then to 15 to 20? Is it the same process or did something change?
Yeah, no, definitely something changed. So the first agent I took on was inorganically. I'm not even sure if I'm saying that right, but it was not organic. Someone
What do you
told
mean
me,
by that?
Thomas, you're ready for a buyer's agent. And I said, I don't know, I don't think I'm ready yet. And she said, yeah, you're ready. And she had a person for me, right? So here's your buyer's agent. Go make it happen. and I failed miserably. I was like, this isn't working. I don't get it. Like, it wasn't right. And so I focused on hiring assistants over agents, and that was my thing. I thought it was good, everything was going right. And then I just got so busy with all the business that I needed help more. I had so many buyers I didn't know what to do with it, and I had so many sellers that I could barely keep up. So what happened was someone in the area was listening, hearing me, and when I say in the area, like outside of my office, because I'm in a big Keller Williams office and there's like cubicles outside of my office, and then he came up to me like said, hey, you know what, if there's ever anyone that you don't want to work with or you need help showing some houses, like let me know. I'll help you out. I said, okay, I'll keep that in mind. And then it was a family friend, and they were not happy with my service. I was kind of all over the place because I had so much other business going on, and I found that it does take a lot more focused time to work with buyers because obviously you're driving, you're seeing houses together, and it's so they were not happy with my service, and I felt very bad, and I was like, okay, you know what, it's time. So I went and chatted with them. I said, I do have someone that you could work with, and I think you'll do a great job with them. It's a family friend of mine, if you want to take him over. He said, yeah, absolutely. They loved him, absolutely loved him. They said, Andy is fantastic. We love working with Andy. Thank you so much, Thomas. He's on top of everything, and he loved them. They love him. It was a match made in heaven, and we
And
got
you
to
were
split
like,
the
well,
pot.
shoot,
We
good
got to
enough to
split
do
the pot, and
everything.
it made sense, right? And I was there, like he used my systems, he used my models, he used, and then I would start training him, and it just organically was like, hey, you know what? Let's keep doing this. And that's when he joined the team, and that organically it worked better. Now, going from one agent to the next agent, then more people wanted to join the team. They saw we were being very, very successful together. He closed the first year on my team. He closed like 50 deals almost, right?
Wow, that's awesome.
So it was like, okay, well, that's a lot to handle. Now we need to bring more people on. And so again, it was more like I was looking for people, people wanted to join, but I didn't have like a structure for them. So it was a bit messy. But I found is that like when there is a structure, when I know what they need to do, when I have consistency, when I have meetings, I hold meetings with them, I see what they need, what we want to offer, I can retain them and also attract them. So yeah, my team was just growing and growing. And honestly, I also shrank too. Like I would hit a certain plateau, and then all of a sudden 3 agents would just leave me. And they would take business with them that I like showed them how to get, and connections that I gave to them, my personal clients giving them, and then all of a sudden because they had more time to chat with them, talk to them, build relationship with them, all of a sudden it's like, oh no, those are my clients. Like, oh wow. So I lost clients, I lost agents, and that was tough because it almost feels like betrayal. It feels like backstabbing. And what I realized is it's not necessarily that. Is there was a piece missing on the team. And maybe they weren't patient enough to wait, or they couldn't figure out how to fix it and remain on the team. So they just chose what might feel faster and easier for them and just go, hey, I'll just take this guy's business and go figure it out on my own, and take what he's taught me, right? And so it was growth for me. Then I go, okay, well, what was going on? Where was the missing piece? And I found it's like in fatigue, right? Like I'm so exhausted pouring into people, and them maybe not even hitting the mark or not trying hard enough. I get exhausted, right? I'm like, where are you at? I'm the one showing up for our one-on-ones, and you're 10 minutes late. I'm the one making $1 million. You're the one just trying to get in the door. And, I'm Michael Jordan, and, you're just learning basketball, and I'm over here to teach you, and you're showing up 10 minutes late. So I think there's a certain amount of fatigue in that. And, and not necessarily, it's like, instead of seeing where I want them to be on our team, is I kind of let them show me where they really want to be on the team, right? Where they want to go in their future. What's their future look like? Not what's my future for them, and see how that aligns. And then also have other people and systems and milestones that they have to achieve. Because if it's unclear, people leave. You know what I mean? People don't stick around if it's unclear. They don't know when they're going to get a promotion. They don't know when they're going to have more opportunity. So they just and they'll take stuff with them because they feel like, oh, they're angry, oh, he didn't give me this, he didn't give me that, when in the back of my head I'm like, I want to help, I want you to be a partner in my business. But that wasn't something I told them because I'm the type of guy that doesn't want to dangle carrots and like, hey, lead you on with this. I just want to say, hey, you're ready, let's take this on together, here, you're a partner, you know. But I think it's better to have a structure, a milestone, and show them, hey, this is when you do this, this is what you get. And it's clear, it's documented, so no one can say, well, you said this, you said that. It's clear and it's documented. These are the milestones that will get you there. And you can grow on the team and you'll also grow the team.
My man, that was freaking gold. I loved everything you said there. Okay. I know we're a little over time, but I have just two more questions, and I'll let
You're
you
good, brother. You're good.
go. So, a new team leader watching this, or an agent that's wanting to start growing their team as a new brand, do you have any advice for those new team leaders or agents that's wanting to start recruiting other agents?
Yeah. Fall forward. I think we get lost in analysis paralysis where we get so focused on trying to figure out all the details before we take action. I believe in taking action, even sometimes if it's not the perfect action. You want to go in the direction of the goal. You don't have to go in from point A to point B in a straight line. It's a squiggly line. You're going to get there, but you're going to fall forward. Fall forward, get up, even if you end up falling backwards, which I've done. I've made mistakes and I've fallen backwards and it hurt really bad. And I had to get up and go, okay, well, how do I keep going? And of course, we always have that voice in our head like, it's time to give up. It's time to throw in towel. It's time to say, forget it. I can make money. I don't have to do this, you know. But in all reality, it's like, what can I learn from this situation? So the hardest of times for me have all been learning situations, what I took away from that. And I have a positive outlook from those pains that I had to make that growth.
Man, you're a gold mine. Okay, okay, love that. I'm gonna take that advice for myself personally too. Thank you.
For
Okay, here's the
sure.
last question. What do you know now that you wish you knew 5 years
That's a good question. It's really along with everything we said. It's people. Where do people want to go? I wish I knew that. I needed to know that. I needed to focus more on where did people want to go and how do we go together, and not just know that because I did know that it was just in my head, but instead have a clear path. Right? I wish I knew that if I had a clear path for people, it would have made a big difference. If I'd known that 5 years ago, I would be so much further now because people, I have people on my team, in my company, in my business that want to be partners, that want to grow the company, that feel it's theirs just as much as I feel it's mine. But it actually is mine, right? But they have the opportunity to make it theirs as well. We will share in a small slice of a huge pizza, right? You know what I mean? If I had a small slice of Amazon, like it's still great, right? I'd rather have a small slice than of a big pie than a huge slice of a tiny speck pie, right? Right. So it makes sense to give them those opportunities so they can get a slice.
That was a great analogy. I mean, can I steal that?
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure I stole it from somewhere too. So
Awesome, man. Well, hey, Thomas, thank you so, so much for hopping on. I learned a lot just from that short 40 minutes. And so thank you so much for having on. Looking forward
yeah,
to
for
having you on
sure,
again in the
man.
future.
I
All
love
right,
it,
so
bro.
Thomas, before you go, where can people find you? How do people want to, if they want to work with you, how can they find you?
You can go obviously on. Actually, my LynkMe is a really great way to find me. What is my link? Gosh, oh man, I can't think of my link right now. But find me on Instagram. Am Tom Paul. I am TOMPAUL. That's a great spot to find me. My LynkMe card is in the description. You tap on that, and it has all my information for all my social media, my YouTube, my videos, my website. Everything's on there. So that's the way you could do it.
Awesome, man. Well, thanks, Tom. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. See you, bro.